They said a shadow crossed the moon, then the grain was gone. No broken locks, no footprints, no witnesses, only full tables by morning. Moonlight hanging over rooftops, cold wind moving through the pines, tax carts rolling through the village. Every sack was bought with cries. Nobles counting every silver, farmers counting every meal. One side sleeping on silk blankets, one side praying for a field. Then a rumor started running faster than the horses could. Something small was moving nightly, doing what nobody would. Through the alleys, over fences, past the guards and past the walls. Every vault that held too much somehow ended up too small. No crown, no title, no palace in the hills, just a shadow with a purpose and a stubborn little will. They called him Hong Gil-dong, a ghost beneath the stars, taken from the greedy hands and healing hungry hearts. Every road would speak his name, every village knew the song, but nobody knew the truth. All along, they called him Hong Gil-dong. Running through the darkness, never making noise. Tiny little outlaw giving people choice. Storehouse full of grain while the children barely eat. So we flipped the whole equation, put the balance on its feet. Left side hungry, right side rich. Everybody knew the system needed more than just a fix. Every night another wagon, every night another chase. Every morning people smiling like a miracle took place. Officials drawing maps, trying hard to find a clue. Checking every mountain path, every river running through. But the legend kept on growing, every story sounding wild. Some said spirits, some said demons, some said heaven's favorite child. No army, no kingdom, no banner in the sky, just a heart that hated watching good people left behind. They called him Hong Gil-dong, a ghost beneath the stars, taken from the greedy hands and healing hungry hearts. Every road would speak his name, every village knew the song, but nobody knew the truth. All along, they called him Hong Gil-dong. History writes the heroes, but history got this wrong. The name became a legend, the legend became a song. Centuries will pass away, new worlds will rise beyond. Different masks, different ages, but the shadow carries on. They called him Hong Gil-dong, the outlaw of the night, standing where the powerless stood. But nobody would fight, every tale remembers him long after he was gone. But hidden underneath it all, there was something moving on. Small enough to disappear, big enough to right a wrong. They called him Hong Gil-dong. A grain sack shifts, a rooftop creaks, a tiny shadow slips away, and history gets the name wrong again.
1,000 miles from where I came, 1,000 stories wear my face. New forest, new sky, same fight, different mask. Sherwood standing tall and silent, branches reaching through the mist. Every road was lined with soldiers, every farmer clenched a fist. Taxes rising every season, bread was harder still to find. Gold kept flowing to the castles, leaving empty hands behind. People whisper around the campfires about a shadow in the trees. Not a king and not a soldier, still he brought the rich to their knees. When power serves itself alone and justice answers only gold. Legends don't begin with glory, they begin when someone says no. They called him a legend, the shadow in the green, standing with the forgotten ones, fighting for the unseen. Not because he stole the gold, not because he broke the law. People kept the story alive because he gave them hope once more.
Sheriff riding, looking angry, searching every road around, every wagon, every pathway, trying hard to track him down. Arrow flying, wheel turning, coins falling into the dirt. Funny how a single action can expose a kingdom's herd. Some men called him criminal, some men called him thief. Hungry people saw a future walking underneath the leaves. Every story growing bigger, every year another tale. Not because he never lost, but because he chose to help.
A crown can rule a nation, a sword can rule a war, but neither lasts as long as the people you're fighting for.
They called him a legend, the spirit of the wood. Not for what he took away, but for what he understood. When the weak had lost their voices, when the strong ignored their cries, he became the hope they needed. That's why legends never die.
The forest kept his footsteps, the wind carried the story far, and history once again remembered the hero, but forgot the truth.
Another headline, another victim, another promise, another failure. Everybody saw it happen, nobody stopped to think. So tell me, what is justice worth now? I grew up hearing good defeats evil, truth defeats lies. Wrong gets punished, justice survives. But the city taught a different lesson. Money talks, power hides, victims buried underneath the silence. Why the guilty sleep just fine. Every camera caught the moment, every witness knew the face. Everybody knew the story, nobody touched the case. Paper shields and empty speeches, endless words without a scar. Funny how the law can see you, yet somehow miss who they are. Every broken promise, every unanswered cry, every door that stayed closed built the fire inside. When justice went missing, the darkness knew my face. I never wanted vengeance, but somebody lit the flame. You can hide behind the papers, you can hide behind the lies, but every mask starts cracking when enough people survive. City lights flashing, sirens in the distance, politicians talking, everybody acting different. Victim on the bottom, money on the top, everybody saying justice. Funny how it never drops. Running through the loopholes, dancing through the cracks, lawyers making millions while the truth gets stabbed in the back. Every case delayed, every file rearranged, every witness disappears, then they tell us nothing changed. They talk about the rights of killers, talk about the rights of thieves. Every camera follows their story, every headline lets them breathe. But what about the broken families? What about the dreams they stole? What about the hearts still bleeding, trying hard at healing cold? Tell me who speaks for the victims when the spotlight leaves the room. Tell me why the ones left suffering always disappear so soon. Look around, tell me what you see. Fear in every neighborhood, anger in every street. Everybody knows the story, everybody knows the truth, everybody knows the damage, nobody accepts the blame. Red lights, blue lights, news lines, false fights, long nights, cold eyes, same cycle, different times. History keeps changing faces, history keeps changing stories, but corruption always finds a way to play the same damn game. I don't wear a cape, I don't wear a crown, I don't need applause, I don't need the sound. I became the question nobody could ignore. What happens to a nation when justice leaves the door? When justice went missing, something else was born. Not a hero, not a savior, just a man completely worn. Every victim has a story, every scar becomes a mark, and when the light stops showing up, the silence starts to move. Every wound becomes a warning, every tear becomes a spark, and when the world stops listening, the silence learns to breathe. Different age, different city, different map. Same fight from Hojin to Sherwood, to the streets tonight. And somewhere in the darkness a pair of eyes are still awake, watching, waiting, remembering who got left behind. The king was counting the people's choices. Funny, he never heard a single voice. The parents kept talking, the dragons kept fighting, and the fox just smiled. The king was counting the people's choices, stacking numbers to the sky. Yet nobody inside the palace ever stopped to ask them why. The parents fill the morning paper selling certainty for gold. Every day a brand new story, every day the same old show. Dragons arguing above the clouds, breathing fire across the land, while farmers watch the fields below, trying hard to understand. The streets were filled with questions, the square was filled with rain, but every answer from the palace only sounded more insane. Masks on faces, crowns on fools, everybody claiming everybody rules. So I laughed at the throne, laughed at the stage, pulled back the curtain, walked away. Kings love numbers, Paris love noise. Funny how nobody listens to the people's voice. Yeah, Paris on the television, talking faster every night, selling fear, selling anger, selling left and selling right. Every headline screaming louder, every channel drawing lines, everybody picking armies, nobody reading signs. Choose LaForge to stop the banners, guard the weak and keep the peace. Funny how they face the crowd instead of chasing thieves. Thousands gathered in the square, banners flying through the storm, voices rising toward the palace, still ignored in every form. The king kept counting choices one by one and row by row, yet somehow missed the reason people made them long ago. Dragons fighting over crowns high above the pouring rain, while the people paid the price again and again and again. You call it order, I call it theater. You call it wisdom, I call it costume. You call it leadership, I call it another magic trick. So I laughed at the throne, laughed at the crown, laughed at the dragons flying around. Kings can't count the choices, parrots can't sell the news, but neither can control what the people choose. When the smoke finally settles, when the shouting finally ends, the truth won't wear a costume, and the story starts again. The king kept counting choices. The king kept counting choices. The parrots kept talking, the dragons kept fighting, the shields kept marching, and somewhere in the crowd a fox was laughing, because the greatest trick was never the magic, it was making everyone forget what they already knew. Good evening. Lock your doors. Count your diamonds. Check your vaults. I'm already inside. The Duke checked every window. The banker checked the locks. The minister hired 20 guards to watch the ticking clocks. It's somewhere in the mansion. A letter softly waits. Thank you for the invitation. Signed before I came. Portraits staring from the hallway, watching every step I take. Funny how the rich feel safest right before their big mistakes. They protect the gold and silver, guarding every precious thing, never noticing the secrets hidden underneath the king. No broken windows, no shattered doors, just a missing truth they can't ignore. I don't steal the diamonds, I don't steal the gold, I steal the stories they never told. Kings hide secrets behind their walls. I leave with everything without taking it all. Newspaper headlines, moaning confusion. Police reports, another illusion. Different face, different name, still the same gentleman running the game. Vault doors open. Nobody saw it, signed confession, already got it. Every rich man, every politician keeps a skeleton inside the kitchen. Masked in titles, money and power. Funny how they crumble in a single hour. Count your diamonds, count your gold, but count your secrets most of all, because tonight you won't lose your fortune, you'll lose the truth you tried to hide.
They remember the mark, but never behind Zorro by day. Maybe that's how it has to be. Every morning wears the same disguise, silk jackets and polite replies. They call me harmless, call me weak, exactly what I want them to believe. I raise my glass, I play my role, while another fire burns below. A town cries out, a farmer bleeds, and nobody hears what the powerless need. So I smile, look away, until the sun gives up the day. They know the Z, they know the name, but nobody knows who carries the pain. They cheer the shadow, they praise the ride, but they never see the man inside. If being forgotten keeps them safe, then let history take my face. The governor sleeps behind his walls, counting taxes, counting gold, while hungry children learn too young what silence costs, what fear becomes. The rich buy comfort, the poor buy time. Everybody pays a different price, and every night beneath the moon I become what I must become. Take the legend, take the story, take the glory, take it all. Just leave the people free. That's enough for me. They know the Z, but not my scars. They know the horse, but not the heart. The world remembers symbols long after men are gone, and maybe that's the reason I keep riding on. When the dawn arrives, Don Diego returns, the legend disappears, the mask survives. Mist across the highlands, cold wind through the pines, old drums in the distance, calling through the night. They can take the castles, they can take the crown, but they cannot take the fire burning in us now. I was raised beneath the mountains, where the rivers cut the stone. Every hill and every valley felt more like blood than home. Then the banners crossed the border, steel and horses filled the land. Kings drew lines from distant tables, never knowing who would would stand. They took the fields, they took the harvest, they took more than they could hold. But every child beneath the highlands learned that freedom isn't sold. Hear the thunder, hear the drums, every fallen father marches with his sons. If freedom has a price, then let my name be paid. If freedom needs a voice, let mine not fade away. Through the valleys, through the fire, through the darkened sky. And if I fall before the dawn, the dream will never die. I watch brothers stand together, shoulder pressed against the rain, holding ground with tired hands, still refusing chains. Mothers praying by the candle, children staring at the flames. Everybody carried fear, but nobody bowed their names. The rich spoke safely from their towers, far away from blood and mud, while ordinary men became a wall against the flood. I heard the war drums getting louder, felt the earth beneath them shake. Every heartbeat in the highlands knew what was at stake. Raise the banners, lift them high, let the mountains hear us. One last time. If freedom has a price, then let my name be paid. If freedom needs a voice, let mine not fade away. Through the valleys, through the fire, through the darkened sky. And if I fall before the dawn, the dream will never die. No throne lasts forever, no empire stands unchanged. The rivers keep on flowing long after kings are gone. Remember why we fought, remember who we were, remember every sacrifice carried by the If freedom has a price, then let my blood be paid. If freedom needs a voice, let mine echo through the ages, through the highlands, through the storms, through the endless night. And long after my final breath, the fire survives. The mist will cover battlefields, the years will hide the scars. But somewhere in the highlands, the drums still carry far, and freedom still walks these hills. Dark the Volga, wide the Suno. Listen, brothers, hear it flow. The wolf of the river rides again tonight. I was born beside the black cold water where the winter never ends, where the hungry share one piece of bread and call each other friends. Nobles counted silver by the fire, farmers counted empty bowls. Once let the warm beneath
soft candlelight, one prayed spring would save their souls. I heard old mothers cry in silence, heard the church bells ring in pain. Every road along the frozen river learned to whisper Raisin's name. No throne above me, no chains below, only horses, only snow. The Tsar called me a criminal, the Volga called me free. One wrote my name in iron laws, one carried it to sea. Ride, old wolf of the river, through the ice and through the flame. If freedom is another sin, then curse my very name. We rode beneath the northern moonlight, Cossack riders side by side, men with nothing left but honor, still refusing fear and pride. We took the gold of greedy merchants, shared our bread and shared our fire. Every village kept our secret, every child knew our desire. Not for kingdoms, not for glory, not for crowns or jeweled rings, only that no hungry brother should bow before a king. Throw my body to the snowfields, hang my name upon the wall. Rivers do not bury stories, wolves do not forget at all. When the bells grow faint and distant, when the fires burn down to coal, the Volga still remembers freedom like a song inside the song. The Tsar called me a criminal, the Volga called me free. Empires rise and disappear like footprints in the sleet, but somewhere on the frozen water where the northern cold winds roam, a wolf still rides beside the river, and every free heart calls it home. Keeps falling, bells keep ringing, kings keep dying, rivers keep singing, and somewhere in the white cold blizzard a horse still rides, a wolf still watches, and freedom still refuses change.
The Andes remember footsteps, the sea remembers fire. Some men die as people and return as something higher. And questions, a dusty bag upon my back, a borrowed bike, a paper map, no thought of ever turning back. I saw children drinking dirty water, saw old men trade bread for pain. Every border looked different, yet the hungry looked the same. The mines were deep, the fields were empty, the churches prayed, the rich grew fat. And every road across the continent asked me one thing: what will you do with that? I was a doctor, then a witness, then a fire without a name. I crossed the mountains as Ernesto and returned carrying flame. They called me rebel, called me danger. I called every poor man by his name. Borders are child sleeps in fear tonight, then my journey isn't done. Havana nights and old guitars, smoke floating to the stars, men with nothing but conviction, dreaming freedom in the dark. I saw fear inside the powerful, hope inside the tired and poor. Every prison built by power became another open door. I never wanted crowns or statues, never wanted wealth or praise. I only wanted one small promise, that no child would starve again. Bury my body, burn my papers, hide my photograph away. Ideas do not need passports, dreams do not obey. Kill the man, destroy the banner, shoot the voice and end the breath. But tell me, how do you murder an idea that outlives death? I crossed the mountains as Ernesto and rode into the world as Che. Empires carve their names in marble, marble breaks and fades away. Somewhere beyond the guns and borders, beyond the hatred and the graves, a child still lifts his head and wonders, can the world still change? Then I still live. The guitars grow quiet, the campfire dies, the mountains hide my bones, but every road through South America still carries dust from my boots. And somewhere tonight, another young traveler packs a bag, looks at the stars, and decides the world can be kind.